Last time on Yi's absurd expedition.
Considering you've been doing so well, I might even give you an Elite 2 promotion. What the... Schwarz and Fartooth look surprisingly similar despite being of different subclasses. Schwarz is a popular close-range sniper that has a chance to perform a critical hit with her first talent that reduces enemy defense by 20%. Her second talent buffs all snipers' attack when she and another sniper are on the field. Schwarz's third skill changes her range to the 4 tiles ahead of her, mega buffs her already big attack since she's a close-range sniper, slightly increases her attack interval, and makes every hit from the skill proc the first talent. Since the first talent is multiplicative, this scales really well with any buffs you give her, basically boosting her very high damage per hit with this skill. Schwarz is usually everyone's go-to sniper for an enemy with extremely high defense since she reduces their defense and also has the attack to get a hefty amount of damage in. What keeps Schwarz alive in today's meta is her cycle ability. 50% uptime on her S3 is great, and with an SP cost of 25, the downtime isn't exceptionally long either, so she can prepare more damage in for the next incoming enemy. Fartooth on the other hand is a wide range sniper who buffs her attack when she hasn't been hit for a while. If her skill is active, she will also ignore the enemy's physical dodge and decrease her own taunt level, meaning she'll be targeted less. This clearly synergizes with her first talent, so you'd expect some really high attack numbers from her. Fartooth's third skill changes her range to an infinite straight line in front of her and massively increases her attack. If she attacks enemies from the 5th tile onwards, the damage will be increased to 140%. To even further boost her damage, she also has her module, which increases her damage based on how far away the target is from her up to 15%. Despite similar amounts of skill DPS, Schwarz gets more total damage in compared to Fartooth. They both also have 50% uptime on their skills, with Fartooth only having a 20-second duration while Schwarz has a 25-second duration. To explicitly define their niches, we need to look at that range. Keep in mind that in order to maximize Fartooth's damage, she needs to hit enemies from the 5th tile onwards, while Schwarz doesn't depend on distance to deal more damage. Fartooth loses damage if enemies are in her default range, so Schwarz would obviously perform better there. Now you may think that an infinite line is super niche and not needed since the map has to have ranged tiles set up in a specific way in order to make Fartooth shine, but Contingency Contract Pine Suit is set up this way funnily enough. Schwarz may be better in situations that need more total damage, but Fartooth has better consistency because of her lower cost skills.
Cruz? What the heck is going on here?
Oh, you guys were just playing jump rope without the rope?
Wait, that bag looks oddly suspicious. It's probably nothing too important. Here, let me throw my trash in the dumpster before I get in the way of your game.
If there's any operator I hate with a burning passion, it's Hate Chalter. Even ignoring all the controversy that surrounded her release, she's just so brain-dead, broken, and bland. Hate Chalter is uninspiring. She's a spread shooter sniper, meaning that she deals 150% damage to the enemies in the row in front of her. Keep this trait in mind for later because she's gonna get broken with it. Her first talent gives her a 20% chance to not consume ammo, meaning if you're just very lucky like a certain someone, Chalter will essentially have infinite ammo. Unlike other operators, Chalter has ammo-based skills, which means that she has a certain amount of ammo at the start of her skill and uses it when an enemy is in her range instead of a duration-based skill. Ammo-based skills can be deactivated before all the ammo runs out, giving her so much more control over her skill timings. Her second talent just gives some attack speed, with more attack speed if there's water tiles. It's basically Ceylon's talent. Chalter's third skill, the only one you'll ever need because her second and first are just outright worse, gives her the Minecraft Hopper range, applies that lovely 150% damage trait on every enemy in her range, and increases her attack a ton. Oh, she's not broken enough. Drop that minus 45% movement speed reduction on everyone in her range. Chalter's still not broken, you say? Let her shred 220 defense on enemies, and now she attacks twice. What is there to unpack here? Well, for starters, the damage she dishes out already makes her DPS disgustingly high. She even has her own multiplicative buff sewn into her with the archetype trait, so Chalter already scales well with Inspire and additive base attack buffs. The skill makes a 150% damage trait apply to everyone in her range, and with the range expansion, you don't need a brain to figure out an optimal placement for her. Oh, The skill also synergizes with her first talent that gives her a 20% chance to not consume ammo. Slap some defense shredding and movement speed reduction, and there you go. What a balanced operator. Chalter is one of the few ranged operators that can survive a Patriot Spear, by the way. It's not surprising she was used in CC6 to kill just about everything, including the very tanky 1v1 Crocs. Rosa might be a little underwhelming for some people, but her small role has been used pretty consistently, focused around her first talent, which lets her ignore 60% of the enemy's defense if their weight is equal to or greater than 3. Her second talent is a faction buff that gives 8% more attack to all the Ursus Student Council operators when she's in the squad. She is of the Siege archetype, meaning she has a wider range compared to the rest of the sniper class, but can't hit anything in the tiles in front of her. Rosa's third skill increases her attack by a bit and binds up to 4 enemies in her range with the highest weight for 8 seconds, dealing damage every second. This simple but small role justifies her usage in the Risk 30 Defender caster clear of CC5. Many players also tend to miss out on her S2, which almost doubles her attack and allows her to target 2 enemies at once. Despite its somewhat DPS, this skill's total damage and consistency shouldn't be made fun of, especially on heavy sitting duck enemies such as Cholula in GTA 2 or the Imperial Striker UFOs. Since her first talent lets her ignore a substantial amount of enemy defense, her DPS is also less punished by high defense enemies compared to her sniper counterparts. W is a 6-star limited sniper featured in Arknights' first anniversary. She is a 6-star splash sniper who boasts some powerful crowd control. Her first talent reduces her taunt level and gives her 60% physical and arts dodge when she's been deployed on the field for at least 10 seconds, increasing her survivability by letting her teammates tank the damage instead. W's second talent increases the amount of physical damage enemies take by 18% if they are stunned and in her range, being the only physical damage amplifier in the game. One very heavy note is that in Arknights, stun is applied before the damage instance, so all of W's skills actually benefit from her own second talent. W's second skill is a consistent skill that lets her place a mine on any deployable tile in her range. After a short delay, the mine will explode, dealing 280% physical damage and stunning the enemies for 2.2 seconds in the 8 tiles around it. The mine lasts for 2 minutes and will despawn if there aren't any enemies nearby to trigger it. The great thing about this skill is that it stores W's DPS on the map. What I mean by this is that she will constantly be placing mines even if enemies aren't around, which doesn't waste as much damage because enemies can just walk right into the mines. Her S3 plants a bomb on up to 4 enemies in her range, which after 3 seconds will explode, dealing 310% damage and stunning the enemies in the 8 surrounding tiles per bomb. It's very easy to imagine the nuke potential of W's third skill, especially with the groups of enemies, since she has her talent scaling as well as a very high 310% multiplier, but what defines W's niche for me is her excellent crowd control. I personally love the synergy between her second talent and a lot of other physical damage stun operators such as Ash and Mudrock, which is especially fun when you put your enemies in a stun lock like I did for the CC Max Risk daily map. Overall, W's stun and damage are her main selling points as a splash sniper. Rosmontis is the only operator of the Bombardier archetype. Her basic attacks deal AoE damage twice to ground enemies in a small area, with the second hit dealing only 50% of her attack. Her first talent allows her to ignore 160 defense of the enemy, while her second talent buffs her and a random caster's attack by 8% when she's deployed. Her third skill reduces her attack interval by 50%, increases her attack, and allows her to attack 2 targets simultaneously, but she can only attack blocked enemies. When the skill is activated, Rosmontis will slam 2 of her sword thingies at the enemy, stunning them and reducing their defense. The tactical equipment can also block enemies. The skill has pretty good DPS, but if you manage to get 2 enemies close to each other, both her attacks will simultaneously hit since they're AoE, increasing her DPS even further. It gets a little annoying sometimes when enemies aren't blocked so she can't hit anything, but Rosmontis' S3 is primarily useful when you need block, stun, and DPS all in one, which is clearly seen in CC5 for the Archer boss.